Good morning, Alex and friends. I'm Grace. Today is Sunday, February 23rd, 2025, and you're listening to Alex's News. The weather in Riverside will reach a high of 79.2 degrees today, with a low of 54.4 degrees, making it a pleasant late February day. Coming up, we'll examine the FBI's significant workforce relocation away from the nation's capital, and what this means for the agency's operations. We'll also explore the implications of the National Institutes of Health's major research funding freeze and its impact on scientific progress. Plus, we'll take a look at Toyota's ambitious $10 billion smart city project and analyze why this automotive giant's urban development venture might succeed where similar projects have fallen short. All this and more, coming up on Alex's News. We begin with a major development at the FBI, where newly confirmed Director Kash Patel has announced a significant restructuring plan. Joining us with more details is our Justice Department correspondent, Ethan Parker. Ethan, what can you tell us about this unprecedented move?
Grace, according to multiple reports from the Associated Press, Director Patel, who was just sworn in yesterday following a narrow Senate confirmation of 51-49, is planning to relocate approximately 1,500 FBI employees from Washington, D.C. This marks the largest relocation effort in the Bureau's history.
Can you break down where these employees will be headed?
Of course. The plan, as reported by Spectrum News, involves sending 1,000 personnel to various field offices across the country. The remaining 500 employees will be relocated to what's being called HQ2 at Redstone Arsenal in Huntsville, Alabama, which is already home to over 1,300 FBI personnel.
Tell us more about this Huntsville facility. What makes it suitable for this expansion?
The Huntsville location, Grace, is actually a sophisticated hub for the FBI's technological operations. According to the Star Tribune, it specializes in cybersecurity training, cyber intelligence, data analytics, and forensic analysis. This relocation aligns with an existing multi-billion-dollar expansion project already underway at the site.
This comes just after Patel's confirmation. What's the stated reasoning behind such a dramatic move?
Director Patel has emphasized his commitment to reducing the FBI's Washington footprint while strengthening local crime-fighting capabilities. However, it's worth noting that this decision has sparked some controversy. Democratic lawmakers have expressed concerns about Patel's previous role in the Trump administration, particularly regarding what they've characterized as an enemies list and statements about targeting perceived adversaries.
What about the logistics of such a massive relocation? How will this affect the FBI's current operations?
While specific departmental details haven't been made public yet, the FBI has issued statements assuring that operational effectiveness will be maintained throughout the transition. It's interesting to note that the current J. Edgar Hoover building in D.C. houses only about 52% of headquarters-related workers, and there's a separate ongoing initiative to establish a new headquarters facility in Greenbelt, Maryland.
Thank you, Ethan, for that comprehensive overview. We'll certainly be following this story as it develops. This is story 1 of 3, and we'll be right back with more news after this break. We turn now to a developing story in the medical research community that's raising alarm bells across the nation. Joining us to discuss this unprecedented situation at the National Institutes of Health is our health correspondent, Chloe Martinez. Chloe, what can you tell us about this funding freeze?
Grace, according to reporting from WHYY and Houston Public Media, we're looking at what's being called an unprecedented funding freeze at the NIH, affecting roughly 16,000 grant applications totaling $1.5 billion. The Trump administration has effectively halted the entire grant review process by blocking the NIH from posting required notices in the Federal Register.
Can you explain why these Federal Register notices are so crucial?
These notices are actually a legal requirement for holding federal meetings, including the grant review sessions. Without them, the NIH can't convene the approximately 2,600 annual meetings that normally bring together around 28,000 experts to evaluate research proposals. This affects critical research across multiple fields, everything from heart disease to cancer, Alzheimer's, and allergies.
We're hearing this is part of a larger restructuring effort. What changes are being proposed?
That's right, Grace. Under Health and Human Services Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s leadership, there are several major proposed changes. According to our sources, they're attempting to cap indirect research costs at 15%, which is significantly lower than current rates. There's also a proposal to redistribute the NIH's substantial $48 billion budget to states through block grants, along with implementing various staffing cuts and administrative changes.
Some might say this is normal during a transition of power. What makes this situation different?
While Judge Glock has suggested these types of pauses are typical during administrative transitions, historical analysis shows this particular freeze is unprecedented. Previous transitions have seen brief funding pauses lasting weeks to months, but as Houston Public Media reports, we've never seen a situation where Federal Register postings were blocked specifically to prevent grant reviews.
What's been the reaction from the scientific community?
The response has been one of serious concern, Grace. Researchers like Annika Barber have expressed significant frustration over the disruption to ongoing projects. The impact is particularly severe for early career researchers and time-sensitive studies. As of today, neither the NIH nor the Department of Health and Human Services has responded to requests for comment on the situation.
Thank you, Chloe, for that comprehensive report. We'll continue to follow this developing story. Here are some other headlines. Pope Francis remains in critical condition at Rome's Gemelli Hospital following a respiratory crisis. The pontiff, who is receiving supplemental oxygen and blood transfusions, spent a peaceful night under medical supervision. The Vatican reports he is alert but experiencing increased pain and continues to receive treatment for a complex respiratory infection. Due to his condition, Sunday Mass and other Holy Year events have been delegated to other officials. Warren Buffett marked 60 years at Berkshire Hathaway with his annual shareholder letter, highlighting the company's remarkable $26.8 billion in corporate taxes paid last year. The conglomerate now holds a staggering $334.2 billion in cash reserves. In his letter, Buffett offered subtle advice to the government about responsible spending and maintaining economic stability. In a tragic incident at UPMC Memorial Hospital in Pennsylvania, Officer Andrew Duarte was killed during a hostage situation. The gunman, Diogenes Archangel Ortiz, entered the ICU armed with a handgun and zip ties, taking several staff members hostage. 2 other officers were wounded, and multiple hospital employees were injured before the shooter was fatally wounded by police. In Ukraine, wounded soldiers are showing remarkable resilience by returning to combat after losing limbs. Among them is Senior Sergeant Rubliuk, who lost both arms but now trains new soldiers, and Vysotsky, a former bank manager who commands drone operations after losing his leg. These soldiers are part of a larger group of amputees who have found new roles in Ukraine's military efforts. Actress Hunter Schafer has revealed her struggle with passport gender markers after receiving a replacement passport with an incorrect male designation. The Euphoria star explained that despite previously having her gender marker changed to female on other documents, recent policy changes have affected the ability to maintain consistent gender markers on official identification. We turn now to a fascinating development in smart city technology, where automotive giant Toyota is making remarkable progress on their ambitious Woven City project. Joining us with more details is our technology correspondent Ethan Parker. Ethan, tell us about this innovative venture.
Thanks, Grace. According to Yahoo Finance, Toyota is investing a staggering $10 billion in this living laboratory, located near Mount Fuji in Susono City, Japan. The first phase of construction has already been completed, covering about 47,000 square meters that's roughly equivalent to 5 baseball fields.
That's quite impressive. How does this project compare to other corporate attempts at building smart cities?
Well, Grace, this is where Toyota's approach stands out. As reported by KSAT, unlike Google's Sidewalk Labs in Toronto, which was canceled in 2020, or Saudi Arabia's NEOM project, Toyota is taking a more measured, practical approach. They're using their substantial cash reserves to create what's essentially a testing ground for future mobility solutions.
And who will be the first residents of this futuristic city?
According to current plans, the first residents, known as Weavers, will move in this fall, that's about 7 months from now. Initially, there will be 100 residents, mostly Toyota and partner company employees. This number is expected to grow to 360 during Phase 1, with an ultimate goal of housing 2,000 residents.
What makes this city particularly unique from an infrastructure standpoint?
One of the most fascinating aspects, Grace, is the underground infrastructure. The city features subterranean passageways specifically designed for autonomous vehicles to handle deliveries and waste management. And as reported by Perplexity API, hydrogen will be the primary energy source for Toyotas, which aligns with Toyota's strategic focus on hydrogen fuel cell technology.
Interesting that you mentioned Toyota's strategy. What's the broader goal here?
While Toyota isn't expecting immediate profits, analysts suggest this is part of their strategy to compete with Google's Waymo in the autonomous vehicle sector. It's worth noting that the city's name actually pays homage to Toyota's origins as a textile loom manufacturer. And looking ahead, the public will be able to visit starting in 2026. That's about 11 months from now.
Thank you for that comprehensive update, Ethan. That was our technology correspondent Ethan Parker with story 3 of 3, reporting on Toyota's Woven City project. Our reporting is based on coverage from Yahoo Finance, KSAT, and Perplexity API. That's all we have for now. Today's episode was made by Alexander King, with Claude Sonnet 3.5, Gemini Flash 2.0, the Perplexity API, and the Google Cloud Text-to-Speech API. I hope you have a great day. I'll see you tomorrow, Alex.